Hello, and welcome to another week of 9 is 10 by
Hiya!
Gove by Jing. Hello.
Hiya.
Hello. It's Chris here again. You're probably sick of me by now. I don't know. We're recording these out of order. This is the first one we're actually recording. Maybe you love
incredible.
me. You probably hate me. It's technology, isn't it? Today, my guest is a very special man. A man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one because it provides context.
Just come on. No one knows who I am. I'm just a mysterious voice.
It's the Mr. Ons, ladies and gentlemen, is this week's guest. Now, my guest today is a member of the YouTube supergroup, I think it's safe to say, the 5 Who fans.
We're internet royalty now.
You are. You're 5,000 subscribers recently. Congratulations.
Wow.
That is internet royalty as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. PewDiePie better watch out.
Well,
you guys are catching up.
Second he starts doing Doctor Who content, we'll just be, chasing after him with a...
You'll be on him like a buzzard, like a ray.
Like a beam.
Like a beam. Like lightning. It's frightening now.
You've not actually said my name yet.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by Mr. Richard Brookes. Say hello, Richard, with your powers.
Hello, Richard, with your powers.
Hello. Now, you are a very unique guest because you're the first person we've had on 9 is 10 who is actually, or has at one point been, Lord President of Gallifrey.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
I've been the Lord President of Gallifrey. I had a bit of a stint at it.
Yes,
and,
we're not talking about hallucination that Richard has had at some point. If you're not familiar with them, please do check out the Aimless Wanderings audio series. I do a part in them as well, but Rich is... You could probably describe it better than I, sir. I'm just one of the turns. I just show up and do my lines.
Well, no, I think you're a bigger character than I. You're one of the companions.
Well, okay.
And you were briefly
not one to brag,
my
but,
underling.
Yeah. That's true. I was very briefly your little man slave man
who I stole the biscuits from
in an excellent episode about a very rubbish death, which is brilliant. Yeah, what web address can we get those from, sir? It's aimlesswanderings.co.uk.
Aimlesswanderings.co.uk, all one word, or you can just have a peek on the old 5 Who fans website, which is 5wf.co.uk.
Straightforward. That.
Very good.
That's
yeah,
straightforward, lovely work.
Yeah, and you can find all of our stuff on there, and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sure you'll find it. So just type it into Google and get that to do the work.
Or Bing.
Bing.
I'm not gonna restrict people to one search engine.
Do you know what I've started doing? Like, if I've lost something and I need to look for it, I'll say I just need to Google my keys. I'm awful. Yeah, I'm branding my own language now. It's terrible.
Ask Jeeves where your keys are. Oh, do you remember Tiscally? That were fun. So this isn't about Doctor Who, but what's about to happen next is, ladies and gentlemen. So, Rich, like part of the 5 Who fans, you guys take an often irreverent look. Yeah, perfect description. The world of Doctor Who and the fandom. And the stories and the actors involved and the characters and whatnot. But where did your love of Doctor Who begin?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I think as a...
Or you'd have to kill us.
As a 4-year-old, I don't know, I just remember being incredibly bored of telly. I think even then I felt that the playbus was a little bit cringeworthy.
Hey, come on! Arthur Darville's mum was in that. She
really?
was Bird.
Oh, and Dave Benson Phillips, who will forever be in my heart.
Well, I'll give a take 50-50.
Well, I love Dave Benson Phillips.
We all do.
Hush your
I
noise.
can only apologise for the terrible pun that only 90s children will understand.
But yeah, I think I was about 3 or 4, and I saw this thing on telly, and there was a bloke with a hat and a girl who was throwing some cans around, and they exploded, and I was like, "What's this? It looks amazing." Asked my dad a bit later, and he said, "Oh, that's Doctor Who." I was like, "What's Doctor Who?" And he said, "Oh, I'll get you the videos from the video shop sometime." Little did I know it had just finished, and it would never be back on the telly again. I think my dad and I rented some videos from that. We rented the Pyramids of Mars, and what else did we get? A couple of the one of the Dalek ones, the Pertwee Dalek ones, Day of the Daleks, and
the one with Pertwee and the Daleks in it. You know, the Dalek Pertwee thing. The one with You know, with the stuff.
And just bought some videos.
It was a very wide video cover to fit that title on, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It was a big VHS box. It was one of the widescreen ones. They had to tilt it horizontally, the display.
It was. I think they would have saved a lot of room if they just cropped out John Pertwee's face, but you know they felt it added to the cover. But no, I ended up. I've got a collection of VHSs, and it was always something that I was just fond of. You know, it wasn't something that I could really engage it with that much because there was no internet. We couldn't really stream episodes like we can now with Netflix, and it was just what existed was what you could enjoy. I got a few novels. I once went to a Doctor Who exhibition at the Birmingham Science Museum, which is now the think tank, which is rubbish. I'm hoping if I say that they'll send me some tickets and prove me wrong. I'm
not sure that's how that works, but I admire your optimism, sir.
But no, as I was sort of getting on a bit, as things were moving on to the internet, as I met loads of people who sort of shared my viewpoint, shared my enthusiasm for things like this. People always ended up talking about, Doctor Who, it wasn't that cool. Obviously, there's these audios now. Or what's that? Or you can listen to Colin Baker and the audios. I liked him in, is it Revelation of the Daleks? Yeah, he did Revelations, didn't he?
Yeah, all I know is he did the one with the badass bounty hunter who steals the show from everybody, and the big polystyrene grave that also steals the show from everybody.
I don't remember the bounty hunter's name, but I remember he
Is it oh gosh, you see, there are people screaming at us right
absolutely
now, not realising that this isn't live, so it doesn't actually make a difference.
I do think the only thing I remember is he shouted the name of his associate. So there's a bit where he shouted Vostok. So I remember that was the name of his mate, who looked a little bit like sort of a personified pug dog, really. It'd sort of come to life. And
can you imagine that? Imagine that, a pug dog in the world of Doctor Who. Aimless Wanderings.co.uk. So
nice plug, 10 out of 10. Royalties,
nice pug.
Royalties coming your way. Anyway, yeah, Doctor Who was coming back, and I don't know. I felt a bit weird, really. I was like, it's coming back. Are they doing more Paul McGann? No. Oh.
No, that's not happening.
And yeah, I was sort of quite, I don't know, not really enthusiastic. I was just sort of ambivalent, really. I was just sort of, couldn't make my mind up. You heard Billy Piper was going to be in it, and I was like, the BBC are actually taking this seriously? Or is this going to be like the most kitsch thing ever? When it finally came back, I saw the first episode, and I don't know. I think I was already quite prejudiced and a bit disinterested, but by episode 2, I was just completely hooked, and it was all I wanted to talk to anyone about, and I think that's stayed with me for quite a long time now, and all I do on the internet now is talk to people about Doctor Who on Five Who Fans. Actually, I've got to the point now where I'm like, should we talk about something other than Doctor Who? And everyone's like, no, we're still talking about Doctor Who, and I can't escape it. I can never ever escape.
To be fair, for branding reasons, the only way you could get around it is if you suddenly just became fans of The Who, and you all simultaneously started discussing The Who.
I think if we rebranded it from 5WF, 5 Who Fans, to 5FW, 5 Fans Who, and then it can be 5 fans who don't really watch Doctor Who anymore.
It's not the best way to get people to go to your website, really.
Well, no. Anyway,
like, come to the website. We might change the whole thing.
We do really like Doctor Who anyway. I think if you're listening to this, you can probably see, like, last month we did a whole bit about the 10th anniversary. We did a review of Rose. We did loving the 9th Doctor and loving the 10th Doctor.
Those videos are superb.
Aren't they amazing?
Absolutely superb. In fact, if you have seen the videos, bully for you. If you've not seen these videos, do give them a watch. Specifically because they contain clues for people you might meet later in this series. So yes, cheeky plug there for my own filthy stuff. No. So Rose goes out. Mm-hmm. You're not feeling particularly enthused about it.
No, I think I was enthused by the time the End of the World came out, because I was, you know, were you around sort of back in 2005 when Rose came out? Where were you, Chris? Tell us.
As in what? As in watching it, or as in just on the planet?
Well, yeah, I'm sure you were around, and
I was certainly about. Yeah, no, I was aware of the show quite heavily because I'd caught repeats on UK Gold, and I'd managed to sort of look at some of the books and whatnot, and I'd become aware of Doctor Who, and I'll be honest, I was incredibly enthusiastic about it coming back, because the paper, like the Mirror, I think, showed pictures of the Autons, and the first story I'd ever watched that had really grabbed me was Spared from Space. Mm-hmm. So I was instantly like, oh my god, I can't wait for this. I can't wait. So I was quite excited to see it return, personally. But you were not so much at that point. You were kind of... were you suffering from the terrible affliction known as preemptive Ecclestonitis?
Yes, I think there was a spate of that going around for quite a while.
The whole hearing the name, thinking, oh, brilliant actor, okay, interesting, and then seeing the pictures of, hang on, cropped haircut, leather jacket, what's going on?
What's this?
What's this all about?
Where's the question marks?
Where's the frock coat? Where's the cat badges? What's going on? Why has he not got an aubergine stapled to his collar? What's happening? Where am I? Can you show me the way out of this supermarket?
But it's sort of like in your head, you sort of imagine where Doctor Who would have gone if it had stayed on the telly. And I think the thing about Rose, it's like the complete antithesis of like what you'd expect from a continuation. But I think as far as reinvigorating the show goes, it was so essential. And we're now going to watch a show that an episode that was maybe
not as essential.
Not as essential, but I think in my mind, I'm prepared to say it's probably one of my favourites in series 1.
I've got to admit, this is one of my most enjoyed stories, especially of that first year when the DVDs came out, and rewatching the first series. This is one that I revisited quite a bit, simply because I think at first, because I was like fascinated and like, oh my gosh, like, remember the stuff in Downing Street, remember the aliens look brilliant, oh, it's such a cool design. And then as I got a little older, more to be like, hang on, does this work? Does this story work? We're, of course, talking about the first two-parter of modern Doctor Who. The first cliffhanger of modern Doctor Who. Like, so many firsts for the new era that are such a staple of the original run. It's Aliens of London and World War III. Aliens of London, by Jove.
By Jiminy.
This was, I think, probably the first... series opener jitters for fans of the classic run, but I think this was the first one that was kind of the Marmite story. This was the one that made people decide whether they wanted to carry on watching or not. For some people, I think the majority kept up because it's just a fun story. It is nonsense and enjoyable and a big romp. And I mean, come on, it's a political adventure done right. The Star Wars prequels, that's political adventure done boring. Political adventure done right is farting calcium aliens.
There's no such thing
Street.
as a political adventure, I don't think.
Well, you say that, sir, but I'm shaking my booty. So, ladies and gents, you know the drill by now. At least I hope you do. It's a part of your toolkit. Terrible joke. Have your DVD, your vanilla copy or box set. Have your clunky box set at the ready if you've got it. Your Blu-ray, your slimline box set, your Netflix, your digital download, whatever it is you're watching Aliens of London on. Get it ready. Get it at the time code 000000. And brace yourself, because we are about to dive in head first to a skin suit full of farts.
Oh, if you're on Netflix, it's about 10 seconds in because that's an annoying BBC logo, but, you know...
Thank you for that, actually. That is a tip that I should probably pass on in future recordings, actually. Very good point. Okie dokie. Ladies and gents, we're doing this. Press play in 3, 2, 1, now! Welcome to Aliens of London, boys
It's
and
not
girls.
Trafalgar Square.
It's A Square.
It's Camille Kadori!
Oh, we love Camille Kajori. Camille Kajori is essentially the greatest thing since sliced Camille Kajori. Like, I love her to bits. I love her so much. In Time Team, we have such an obsession with her, and we were so... Obviously, like, watching this the first time, I thought she was fun, but, like, analysing it for Doctor Who magazine, we realised how much we love Jackie and how much we genuinely were so happy to see her back in this episode. Like, because how much Jackie had we had by this point? We'd had
just one episode.
Rose.
Oh,
and we had a bit of her in End of the World.
Yeah, she was on
as
the
well.
phone. Mm.
On phone.
On phone.
Now, spoiler alert, I'll be honest, I'm saying spoiler alert, if you've not watched this before watching it with a wacky commentary, then you've got a problem. But, spoiler alert, this concept I adore. Because Doctor Who was never this domestic in the past, was it? Like, it never really connected to the home life of the companion. So you could never get this kind of story. But the idea of them showing up a year late from the people she's connected to, from the people who expect her to be home after work, like, brilliant. Because you can't go back on it. You can't mess up time and go, oh, actually, let's run back in and go back a year and get it right. It's fantastic. And I think this is something that Russell brought to the show that I'm... Like, a lot of people sort of, like, you know, oh, Doctor Who's not supposed to be a soap opera. I'm sorry, I think this enriches, if that is a term, enriches even. This enriches the format for me.
I just want to say, I love Christopher Eccleston's kicking about acting in most of this series. Like, if he's ever in the background of a shot, he'll just lean against things and sort of smile now and then, and it just warms my heart.
He's a very good leaner. I think it's a Manchester thing, though. Mm-hmm. It's a Manchester thing. I noticed that when I lived down in London for a few years, when I was waiting for the Underground, I'd be leaning.
What a waste of a good brew that was.
Well, you say that, but it made for a cracking shot. It made for a cracking TV trope. Whenever I see the Palace Estate now, I'll be honest, I keep looking for the spot where the 10th Doctor was stumbling around in the end of time. Whenever I keep trying to spot that.
Whenever I look at the Palace Estate, all I can think of is 15 Stories High, which was that sitcom with Benedict Wong and... who's the other fella?
The guy that's not Benedict Wong.
The guy that's not Benedict Wong. Oh, titles. I love these titles.
So good. Made me so happy. Every week just hearing this. This was my ringtone, I'll admit. By about this point in the series going out, this was my ringtone. This iteration.
Same.
I didn't change it.
I did spend about an hour ripping it from the episode that I managed to download. And
do you know what I think I did? I think I watched one back on iPlayer. Was around in 2005, wasn't it? But it was...
No, I don't think it was.
Why am I thinking it is? Oh, it's because the Doctor Who website was quite active.
Bad
during
Wolf!
The series.
Bad Wolf!
There it is.
I was going to say, I think back then most of the BBC website was still using Real Player.
If you wanted to read an article on the new characters, you had to like go through an entire Scream of the Shalka style sit down, like plan it out. I'm just going to pour myself a brew, and then I might be able to read a character bio in 5 minutes.
I love the way that Christopher Eccleston just stood there like a puppy that someone's shouting at.
That's probably how we felt at the time of the 50th anniversary. Why aren't you going to be in it? Just leave me alone. I'm over here having a cuppa. Stop shouting at me. I also love that photo of Rose in the back frame there. Like, that's the one that was on all the posters and everything. I really hope it was just like a publicity shot from her pop days. Do you know what I mean? They've just gone, oh, this'll do. Put it out there. Meanwhile, a telegram's being delivered to Simon Pegg's character from that big train sketch. Letting him know that Billy's doing okay. Oh, Jackie slap!
Oh, fab. I tell you what, what was I going to say? Yeah, Bad Wolf, that was just on screen about a minute or two ago. It's amazing how just someone scrawling 2 words on the TARDIS got everyone talking. Because...
Yeah, I remember that, because people were sort of going, what a weird thing to write, like, what a weird specific phrase to write in the graffiti. Like...
I can remember, I mean, I never really got into... You know, what is it? Gallifrey Base and the Doctor Who forums and that sort of thing.
Yeah, back in the day it was something else, wasn't it, at that point? Gallifrey Base? Different.
No, I think it was
Outpost Gallifrey. It was Outpost Gallifrey.
It was Outpost Gallifrey with Gallifrey Base. Then it became the Doctor Who forum, and now it's Gallifrey base again. But
I'm referring to us there, by the way, just to clarify.
Yeah,
I'm calling us massive nerds for even knowing that.
I think if you downloaded a Doctor Who commentary on the internet and you've spent the time syncing it up with the episodes, and you're listening to two people talk about Christopher Eccleston's face, then well, anyway, yeah, it's. But yeah.
Oh, hang on. So just quickly, what unfortunately dated bit of lineage there? You're so gay. Oh, I'll be honest. I don't mind this looking different to modern TV and modern series of the show because naturally TV evolves and everything. But when a phrase like that comes up, you have to go to yourself. It was 2005. It was 2005.
Of course, Russell famously became gay as a way of apologising to people for writing that line. Of course, when he wrote, queer as folk, that was he was completely straight back then. But what a shot that was, though.
That is cracking, and that again, that's held up quite nicely actually. That effect shot looks pretty good.
I was going to say
almost as good as the Seventh Doctor's opening titles.
Oh, hang on! It's going to crash into Big Ben.
Come on! Oh, nice.
Oh no, it's still pottering about a bit.
Still pottering about. Where is it going? Oh, hey, look!
It's going on the sightseeing
That's a treat, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, St. Paul's there. Let's have the Sidemen walking down the steps again. Come on, here we go. Oh no, it's over here now. It's over here.
Here we go. I was going to say though, if an alien ship did crash into Big Ben, oh, look at that! That's a miniature shot as well, isn't it? That was cracking.
Yeah, that beauty. I don't know if it's in the Doctor Experience currently, but that gorgeous piece of craftsmanship of the side of Big Ben usually toured with the exhibition in 2006-2007. That was a regular, so that was something you'd find in most of the exhibits, was that chunk of Big Ben, which I adore because it's like, wow, look at how, the use of models, the use of miniatures and everything, but at the same time, I bet you didn't think this was going to be touring the country for 10 years. So weird, like, Dalek Emperor, yeah, all right, Big Ben, every year, come on, let's take it on the road. Oh, blah, that guy looked like Danny Houston then. That was a bit weird.
I just love his enthusiasm. Like, he just sells it so much. Like, he's just having the time of his life.
Again, this is nice. It's such a great juxtaposition of the personalities of the different incarnations, because this happens to Pertwee, and he's like, oh, must you bother me, Brigadier? Yeah, there's been a crash in the Thames. I'm having my cuppa. I'm trying to fix my TARDIS. Leave me alone. Whereas the Ninth Doctor, no, excited to see it happening. Like, it's such a nice spin on it. Oh, my gosh.
I think there's something about his affectation and his performance and those eyes. It's just giving me the eyes. I can't not look at them. There's something so...
He's got you with his eyes, his crazy Swayze eyes. You've been pulled into the Eccleston tractor beam.
Playground about him, so relatable with the kids in his performance. I wish I knew what it was and how he does it.
Well, if we knew how he did it, Rich, then
yeah, we'd
all be Ecclestoning,
earning a lot more money than I'm sure we are at the moment.
Yeah, we'd be running around playing Eccleston at Eccleston conventions dedicated to just Eccleston's roles. Now that actor is tremendously familiar. The newsreader. I recognise his face, like I would recognise the face of someone from my school days who I bump into at the local supermarché. It's just sort of making me go, I'm sure I know who that is.
It's the sort of person you see, but you've forgotten the name, so you just try and cover your face so they don't see you and start thinking the same thing and have an awkward 5-minute conversation when neither of you remember each other's names. And you have to secretly go on Wikipedia and see if you can find them.
What, your school friends?
Well, or people who are in episodes of Doctor Who, same thing.
Fair dues. If anyone knows who it is, email the past and let us know.
Oh wait, I've got an email coming through now. You're a bit late. Who are the Goths? I've never noticed them before.
Oh my goth! You're right.
It's like I don't know why. I don't expect Jackie to be mates with Goths.
What? I also don't, for 1 minute, believe she's the only one with the TV in the block. Come on, everybody! Ambulance viewing party! Woo woo!
Oh, here's the Blue Peter moment. There we go.
Oh, Matt Baker, look at his little face.
Is that Mabel back there, or?
It's his doggy. I know that much. His doggy from the farm. Look at that.
Do you know what? He's moved quite quickly, hasn't he?
He's swift.
He's very swift. Is that
contrary
his name?
Contrary to popular belief, Richard, the whole of London is actually in miniature in real life. So it's like a model village. He just took 3 or 4 steps to one direction,
and then they used perception of depth just to make things look bigger and smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That building is actually 2 meters high, but
these buildings are small. Those buildings are far away. Now which box is bigger, Richard?
We've got Toshi Sato coming up, haven't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah, for those who've not noticed it before, how dare you? No, for those who've not noticed it before, Tosh, ladies and gentlemen.
Neko Mori, is that her name?
Yes, it is indeed. Apologies if we're pronouncing it wrong. The apologies written by myself, Christopher Johnson, and Richard Brookes. Just to make it fair.
I did love how basically you'd see a character in an episode, and they just gave this cracking performance, and you'd see them again somewhere later on. Like you had that with
Freema
as well.
Doomed Army of Ghosts. There's quite a few actors actually, aren't there, who pop up again later?
I suppose you could say Karen and Peter are 2.
Yeah. Well, Fires Upon Paper is obviously a good luck charm. I'm half expecting what's his name, Phil Morris. Is it Phil Morris?
Oh, I know who you're talking about, the impressionist.
No, that was wow, we are drawing a blank today. That was oh my gosh, there are people screaming at us right now from the future. See, now thanks to Dead Ringers, again, Fires Upon Pay connection, I'm waiting for his long arms to come into shot and wibble around a bit.
Arms.
His long dangly arms, Charlie Long Arms. Right. So, Joseph Green, ladies and gentlemen, our first villain of the piece. Because I don't think General Asquith is a bad guy yet, is he?
No.
Also, we neglected to mention Unit
and Penny Wilson.
Oh, bless her cotton legs. She is brilliant. And this was the year after Shaun of the Dead, so I think everybody collectively was going Barbara at the TV.
There's something about Penelope Wilson. She's just like she's television royalty. Everyone thinks she's amazing. Find me someone who doesn't think she's amazing, and they don't have a telly.
Oh, Bill down at the grocers. Oh, hang on. People without telly. Well, those goths probably don't like her. And the old bloke who's at the back room.
All they've got is a radio. All they listen to is Radio 4. Now, here we go. These two are. There's Annette Badland there. Oh, everyone loves Annette Badland. Whoa.
Annette Badland is amazing. I've gotten to work with Annette a couple of times in my job doing television presenting on a show called Wizards vs. Aliens. I've done behind the scenes a few times.
Wizards vs. Aliens?
Wizards vs. Aliens, another Russell T Davies show. Russell T Davies and Phil Ford's brainchild. Really good show. And Annette plays a main part in that. So I got to work with her a few times. She is adorable. She's absolutely lovely. So nice, so polite, very sweet. But the first time I got to meet her was at a screening for Wizards vs. Aliens. And I'll be honest, the first time I met her, my child brain kicked in and went, Blumfell Fudge Passamade Slitheen! And yeah, it was so disarming to see how lovely she was, because I was expecting her to be evil. Thanks to this and Bad Girls, I was expecting her to stab me in the showers or something.
Wembley.
Yeah, we didn't. Not that we were showering together, of course. But it's telly, innit? That's. How do you feel about that? That was a Dr. Evil moment. Everyone was just cackling away
at a big table. Yeah. No, I'm absolutely.
Have villains ever been so openly villainous in Who? To the extent that makes you go, wait a minute.
I do love that. There's no moral dubiousness. They're all just completely morally bankrupt, awful aliens.
Yeah.
So straightforward.
I think you can tell that tonally they're still figuring it out a bit at this point, because this is, if I remember correctly, this is the first filming block, wasn't it? These episodes, it was the first stuff they shot, and the reason this one seems to come under criticism is because people say, "Oh, sorry, just his monologue here is so adorable," even though he's lying through his teeth because he is just going off to explore, like the ship and everything. Tonally, people complain that this episode feels a bit kiddie. Because the villains are farting big green blobby aliens in suits. But I don't know, man. I think it's allowed to be a bit childish.
Well, I don't know.
Places.
I think the focus is I was talking about this in a review I was doing of Rose.
Oh, there are the Goths again.
The Goths having a bit of a big old slap up party.
She just hit on Echo's
L-O-E-T. Hello.
Mickey Smith.
Right,
I'm putting a pin in that. I'm getting back to Mickey in a mo.
Good old Noel. Yeah, I was saying in Rose, it's all about Rose, and it's literally a character piece about her. And in this one, it feels like it's more of a sort of ensemble character piece about how everyone in Rose's immediate vicinity, like you've got the Doctor, you've got Mickey, and you've got her mum, sort of reacting to these crazy events that are going on. With regard to an alien invasion, and I think it's a great bit of character work as opposed to an alien story. Even though the aliens are, I would say, a little bit hokey in places, but also at times incredibly sinister.
I will say this: that was a bit silly, though. Like, what was he hoping to accomplish there? Was he trying to run? Was he going to run into the doors of the TARDIS? Well, although, again, nice save. Nice save there.
He could have just
the TARDIS.
He could have just gone invisible. You know, he didn't realise it was leaving.
It looks gorgeous. This is so well shot. It's just, again, it's his enthusiasm. It's just an actor wandering round a hexagonal thing. And right now I am excited for him. I don't know what he's trying to do. I'm happy for him.
I love the...
Like, he's selling it. The mallet and the fact that he plugged the screwdriver into charge as well. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice
when he
that.
came
I've
in.
never seen that before.
Yeah, I think the only reason I've ever noticed that is because the toys have a slot. In both TARDIS toys that have come out at the moment in the big scale have a slot for your sonic screwdriver to go in.
No, I've never, is it USB or?
Well, I don't know, but it's I like the fact that it implies that it does need to charge. I think more moments like that would have got rid of the whole Sonic X Machina stigma, because people would be like, all right, maybe it does do everything, but it still needs to charge. Like, so it won't always get a map scenario, because it might run out of battery. So, you know. Oh, blimey. So villainous. So sinister.
But,
so don't give a damn what she's saying.
it's interesting. So many of the villains, I think pretty much all of the villains so far in the series have been wolves in sheep's clothing, because, you know, you've got the Autons who sort of are there, and then, you know, they're quite docile, and then they become, you know, are we going to take over the world? You've got
the Uncanny Valley. Oh, that's safe. I know what that is. It looks a bit like us. Oh wait, no, it's trying to kill us now. This isn't good. I'm uncomfortable with this.
You've got what's her name? The face from End of the World.
Cassandra,
who is...
Or the face of Bo. Take your pick. There's lots of faces in that one.
Many faces.
There's wicker baskets in hoods. There's loads of faces in that story.
And yeah, she was like, I'm the last lady of Earth. I'm actually evil. And then you've got the Geth who are like, oh, please save us. Oh, we're actually evil. And and then you've got the Slitheen who are like...
Politicians, we're already evil.
We're already morally dubious. Oh no, we'll just throw it in. We're evil. Sorry, we're going to kill everyone.
You did go a bit Hitcher there when you described how evil they were. We're evil.
It's interesting that
I'm a wrong gun.
That the first
Oh, bleeding massive fun. Sorry, can't resist.
We're evil, Governor. We put
first
pins in meringues. No, anyway,
once kicked a raccoon's face. Right off its face, and it landed on Jesus' face.
And Jesus went, "Oi! What are you doing with that raccoon's face?"
For those who are wondering, our Mighty Boosh 11 commentary is available later. Oh, dear. But yeah, you were going to say like the first villain that is just flat out face value bad guy is the Dalek.
No, actually,
really?
what I was going to say, the first villain that actually had some level of existed in a moral grey area was the Dalek. I mean, when we were introduced to the Dalek, it's straight up evil, and yet by the end of the episode, you're sort of questioning whether or not it has a conscience and a soul, essentially. And that's the first time in the series we'd done that, and it was a surprise that it happened in an episode with, this just completely
evil being.
Yeah. I'm sure Nicholas Briggs would be able to do that one more justice, but
bring his ring modulator.
Yeah,
he could knock you. Brings his ring modulator, boy.
But
he can outdo you in less than 10 Dalek rolls. This
I love this shot.
I mean, there's many reasons why I love him, but this is the sort of stuff that makes me fall more and more in love with the Ninth Doctor whenever I watch this story. The shushing of the sonic screwdriver, just the gleeful grin.
I love the fact that one of the soldiers
just
picked up his gun, didn't even take the cigarette out of his mouth.
That's because he's so badass, It's like we've walked in on a bunch of colonial marines from Aliens who just happen to be chilling out in a staff room somewhere. Oh, there's your trailer shot. Screaming.
Attack Baton Delta is I don't have a weapon, but just follow me, yeah?
What again, like, nice reinforcement. People who aren't familiar with the classic stuff, young kids who are watching, instantly he knew what to say to them. Dude's worked for Unit, man. He's probably learnt a few things along the way.
Have they not actually said Unit, have they?
Not yet, no.
Unit first comes in the Christmas Invasion, from recollection?
I'm sure they discuss them in this, because if I remember correctly, General Asquith is
I mean, it looks like they've got the Unit insignia on their heads.
Yeah, no, some of the experts are from Unit. So it is discussed later on. Yeah, because he says he's worked with them in the past, but they wouldn't recognise him now. Yeah, because again, I think that's one of the first. I say one of the first. Like, look at the ears is obviously the first, but it's sort of one of the early hints of regeneration.
Although it's weird in the very same episode that there's hints that he's been doodling about with JFK, family in Portsmouth, etc. Oh, I love this bit.
Yeah.
His first appearance of Jimmy V was in it as the Mox of Balhoun, wasn't he?
Yes. So, but technically, first thing he shot then.
Yeah.
As the space pig.
Oh, he's lovely.
Or as I like to call him, Proto Laszlo. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I proudly own the pig action figure. I've got the space pig and I love it. Look at him. It's again like people criticise that bit for being childish. It's a pig running around, but then he says that, and it's just like suddenly the weight hits you. Like, oh god, like this could be such a silly moment for people, but he's just made you realise why it's actually kind of sad. That pig didn't want to be put in there in this position. He didn't want to be put in those stupid overalls. He didn't want to wear essentially a bubble coat all over his body.
This is the thing. It's like the criticisms that people land that it's childish. I think it's actually quite human and quite relatable,
and brilliantly sci-fi as well.
Like, but in a subtle way, because
we've put a thing in a pig and we've made it move around.
Yeah, I mean,
because that'll make people freak out. Simple as that. Like, we don't need to create an elaborate alien disguise. We're going to put a pig in a spacesuit. We're going to tamper with it a bit. That's going to be freaky enough that the military are going to be wasting time worrying about it and thinking, what the hell do we do here? What is this? Because ultimately that's what it is as well. They're just providing a distraction in terms of the plot. The Selene are just... Well, there you go. Like, they're doing it so they can get General Asquith and get him and have more influence. Like, it's all means to an end. They're obviously having fun while they do it. It's like, how can people say, oh, it's daft they use a pig? The Joker made a bunch of fish have a grin. And people think he's a genius.
As you do.
You know what I mean? As you do. He's one of the greatest villains in fiction. Hang on, can we see Penelope Wilton peeking? We can! Look at her! That's amazing, you can see her there! Why is no one going, why is there a woman in the cupboard?
Do you think they just left her in that cupboard for the entire filming of this scene?
I think after this
just left some bourbons in there and
They were like, well, Penelope, we can't wait to have you on board. We'll get you out to Cardiff. You're with us for 6 days. However, it's Series 1. We're saving up all the money as much as we can for the big effect shots for the finale and that. So we can't actually put you up anywhere. Will you sleep in this cupboard? Got a bag of Oreos, you know. Oh, wait, they weren't being imported over here yet, were they?
Custard creams.
Custard creams will do. Custard cream, bourbon creams. Oh, that's creepy. I think that's the first time we've seen the zip go all the way around.
Mm.
And again, this is horrific, because you're like, oh, God, what's going on out there? Pig. This is brilliant. I wonder if when they were casting for Torchwood, Russell and Julian Coe thought, right, Eve Miles is brilliant for this. Should we now? I wonder if they thought she's great, and we can make an allusion to her being Gwyneth, related to Gwyneth, and similar here, with Neko Morai. Do we? Oh God, we can. That can be Tosh. We can say that was Tosh. Whereas with Martha, we can't say she was the lady from the thingy because she's got wiggly wires in her ears and she's dead. That'll be hard to get around.
Wiggly wires.
Wibbly wires. This is the Cybermen. We have wibbly wires up the wazoo. They had loads left over, so they use them for all operations. Oh, that sound.
I did love how, I think in the first series they just always had wind blowing when the TARDIS left. Have they kept doing that? Because I don't remember seeing it since.
I think it's based on the director and the shot.
Okay.
Really, if it looks cool, I think they've done it, but it's not a consistent choice. But there's a lot of leaves being caught in a breeze and whipping around. There's the Goths again, chilling out.
Goths again.
Whose kids are those? Some kids in the flat.
It would be
Hang on. The police thought I'd murdered you. They didn't question Jackie about having all these random people in a flat all the time. What if she's a kidnapper? She's kidnapping all these people. We've got the kids here. Where are their parents? We got the Goths here.
Got some men with beards. Come on,
look at the beard
men with beards are a lot more suspicious than Noel Clark. Men with beards are always hiding something.
Do not house the beardy men.
Of course, just don't forget the Master's always had a beard. Think about it. Evil.
Michelle Gomez will have one soon. You mark my words. She'll grow one out for the role.
Hello, to you again.
Mickey the idiot.
I was going to say something, completely forgotten it. I'm going to have to edit this bit out.
You were thinking about the Goths. You were just so excited.
Absolutely, I'm always thinking about the Goths.
But it'll come to you, the realisation will come to Mickey that what was he hoping to achieve by running at the TARDIS? I'll bang my head, Rose. Right, you see, do you understand now why I left you, Mickey?
I've cracked a rib, Rose. No, I tell you what, you were saying something about directorial choices. One thing I quite liked about Series 1 is how the lighting of the TARDIS always seemed to change depending on what director was in.
Yes, they tinkered with that a little bit in Series 2 as well.
It sort of seemed to just be normal white light from that point on, just very normal sort of lighting. But you always had greens and purples and blues and golds, and the colours were always amazing. It was it's like you were tuning into Doctor Who and you didn't quite know what you were getting, you know?
Sets a tone too.
Is Christopher Eccleston goading Rose's boyfriend because he obviously fancies her a bit?
Yeah, he does. That's the thing as well. The romance thing's not been played up by this point. Mm-hmm. It's more the romance of the friendship. Mm-hmm. In the previous story, the whole "I'm so glad I met you," stuff like that. You're like, oh, it's just he's really found a kindred spirit here. But like you say, the challenging Mickey, it's kind of the first hints of I actually really quite care for this girl.
What are those? She's got bottles of some sort of chemical fluid on a shelf there. It looks like methylated spirits or something.
She's also watching a TV out the side of her head, so she's got skills as Jackie. She's got skills and she's got the pills.
It's like reporter helpline. I've been reporting on this since this morning.
I've done lots of other things, but I can't remember what they are. If you know, please email from the future and tell me. I love these stock footage images of tanks.
There's a button on the phone there that says Mercury, a big green button that says Mercury. If you press that, do you think you can get Mercury to come out the bottom of the phone?
Oh, God. That's probably why they discontinued it. It wasn't pack tested.
Oh,
So back in 2005, they wouldn't pack test this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey, how about that? Classic TV search engine that doesn't exist. Oh, my days. You'd have a seizure looking at that search engine all day, wouldn't you? All those things flowing around in the background. This is why they stopped doing fish tank desktop wallpapers. It's just distracting. I like underneath the search thing, then it looked like Dennis the Menace's face. It's like this little graphic of like 2 eyes and a nose.
I like that he's just jiggling the same little bit.
Well, it's because we wouldn't begin to understand what he's doing.
Absolutely.
You see. We wouldn't begin to... If he told us what he was doing to the controls of his frankly magnificent time ship, we would have no clue. I adore this TARDIS set. I really do.
Oh, it's lovely. Yeah, you know, the first time I saw it, I didn't quite... Like I was saying, I wasn't entirely sure what Doctor Who should have become. I was expecting a sort of a glitzy, sciencey console. Something like...
A Sabalom glitzy console.
Something a bit more in line with the later Matt Smith console, you know? Something a bit sort of techie and moving and all sort of futuristic. This is a more sort of natural-looking, weird... sort of thing, but it's really got a lot of presence, hasn't it, and a lot of character.
There is a lot to it, and again, it's utilised so well because I think it operates on the classic set principle of right. There's no fourth wall. We're just looking in on it. We can only really film from a certain set of angles, but we can get a lot of range of movement within it. We can, you know, the shots we can get are pretty damn good, especially in like shows like episodes like Boomtown where they really kind of utilise the space in it. But I've got to admit, I having seen this set in real life, like I got to see it shortly after its scorching for the end of time. Again, I was doing some behind the scenes stuff for Sarah Jane Adventures, and I got to have a look at the TARDIS sets, the 5th season set. And this one, which was still up, it was still, you know, still erected. They hadn't taken it apart completely yet, but it was scorched and covered in burn marks and everything. And a pillar had fallen down, and parts of the console had been picked apart to be used on the other one and everything. But standing in it, it was huge, like it was enormous. And I think that does come across on, like especially before when he was running around the console, you can see just how big this console room is. And I think that's why it captured my imagination. Like I know you said you were expecting something sort of glitzier and a bit more techy and whatnot, but for me, the moment I saw the size of it, having then watched a lot more of Who stuff, like even as a kid, the TV movie TARDIS became my favourite.
Oh, absolutely! It was just gothic and
just how grand it was. Like the idea of the cathedral and a library and all that. It seemed so grand. In later years, I came to kind of love the classic design a bit more because it was less about. When I was a kid, it was more like what's bigger and more impressive. And then as I got older, it was more like actually I quite like the aesthetic and the charm and everything. I adore this a little bit more. But I was looking forward to something bigger than the McGann one as a kid, and this one this did it for me. It was like, oh, get in.
It's like sometimes you're looking at the classic series and it was like, oh, let's all get in the TARDIS. Come on, it's bigger on the inside. Come on, budge up, Turlo. Come on, get your elbows in. Come on. But no, with this, it was sort of practical because I don't know, when you're looking at the McGann set, you don't know where it ends. It's like the walls just seem to go on forever. It's like if you were if you're a bit pissed and you needed a wall to lean against, you wouldn't know how far you'd have to walk just to find something to just rest against. You'd probably end up putting your hand on the console and I don't know, sending yourself into temporal orbit or something. Reference.
Oh, right. Just this is brill. I like the idea that in the age of the internet, as quiet as he's tried to remain, as insignificant as he's wanted to seem through human history, the Whispers exist. Obviously, we got it with Clive and Rose, but Mickey there saying, like, I've read up on you. It's like, oh God, he doesn't realise that as the human race moves on, he should do, because he knows our entire future. But as the human race moves on, he's going to leave traces.
Don't forget, there was
one day have a fan club.
there was the Who is Doctor Who website. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we what's it? A bit of chinwag about that with Rose, because it was in that few week build up, wasn't it? But obviously I think it got most of its hits after the episode, because I remember it existed a while before, didn't it? Who is Doctor Who? .co.uk. But it was after Rose, more people cottoned onto it. They were like, oh right, I wonder if that's real. That was pretty cool, actually. I really like that level of marketing they did around this period, because I'm sure there was one about oh brilliant, look at his grin. There's like a fake political page as well, wasn't there, like about Harriet's career as MP for Flydale North and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. They had websites for absolutely everything they could get websites for. There was one for the company from Dalek.
So I fancy that and stuff. Yeah.
What else was there? There was probably one for Satellite 5. I don't know.
This is
fake Torchwood page. But yeah, it was like back in the day that there was such an amazing sort of Doctor Who expanded universe web presence. You know, it's like you watch the series, and once you're done, you have a tinkle about on Ask Jeeves for an hour or so, and you find all this extra stuff that they've done. And the BBC,
you get your dial-up going.
Exactly, yeah. And they used to have like games for every episode. It was amazing.
The Boomtown one was so much fun. You were Slitheen surfing on the wavelength extrapolator, like through debris in space. It was amazing. This is great as well, because he now just doesn't care. He's like, hello! Hiya!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hello! Oh, it's brilliant, this! Oh, send us it when you're done. I'll make it my MySpace photo. Ta-ra! Off he pops.
Got a Polaroid, pal.
Oh, is it disposable? It's alright, I'll swing by Boots. Give us all your cameras and I'll swing by Boots in a bit and I'll get them developed. I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm 900 years old and I'll pop to Boots for you if you need me to develop your pics.
It's probably worth mentioning how the Slitheen are essentially the perfect embodiment of both comedy and horror,
yes,
which seemed to be incredibly prevalent in the first 5 years. This sort of juxtaposition of, oh, isn't that silly? Oh God, it doesn't have a face.
That was the perfect summary. Oh, brilliant. I also like how the guy just said, sorry, your companion doesn't have clearance. It's like, hang about, mate. Don't explain the tropes. Let them exist. Oh, dear. I can't let her in. She's not wearing the right shoes.
She's got a plait in her hair, not in Downing Street.
What is she, a Padawan?
Padawan Time Lord.
Oh, dear.
I like how they're like, you're not allowed through those doors. They're just going through anyway.
I also like how she's like very loudly saying, don't look about, keep walking, come on, be subtle, let us stroll through.
Come on. I like they've got those dinky little DVD players that...
What's with the lights alongside the room?
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
That's just, what? Nice touch there, I like that. That seems to be a superpower of the Ninth Doctor. I don't know if any of the other Doctors have retained it, have they? Any of the Doctors since, the whole fast reading thing.
I'm pretty sure... it seems a bit Star Trek, actually. It's a bit like Mr. Data or something.
Or Mr. Spock. Yeah, it comes into play quite a bit later. Bananas are good, bananas are good.
It's interesting how... If you look at the pictures of the Prime Ministers on the wall, Maggie Thatcher and John Major are canon, but there's no Tony Blair.
That's a very good point, because they don't want to imply that they've killed off Tony Blair.
Yeah,
and this is the beginning as well, actually, of a trend in New Who, of politics from the real world and fictional politics crossing over. Because, like you say, like here we are, these are the Prime Ministers of the past. There's an implication, I think, in the design of the... There we go. As he drops, it's like, that could be Tony Blair, right? Like, he's a bit older than he was at that point, if I recall, but that could be Tony Blair who's just fallen out of the cupboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we get Harriet Jones, and then we get Harold Saxon, and then we get the bloke who's in Torchwood Children of Earth after that.
I was going to say, I mean, obliquely, Harriet Jones is a member of the Labour Party, and Harry Saxon is... I mean, based on the fact that Anne Widdecombe was part of his election campaign, you assume that he's Tory. You assume that it might be a bit of a jab.
Bit of a dig, yeah.
Yeah.
But also in America, we have President Winters in the Master Three-Parter in Series 3.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't last.
But then Barack Obama is the president in the end of time.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Like, tying it more into the real world, I suppose, has its things you have to juggle and have to make unusual decisions about. Because all the implications up till now have been Doctor Who happens in our world.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is the first sign of, okay, maybe it doesn't. Like, if you want to talk about the whole like multiverse thing, maybe it doesn't. Maybe this isn't meant to be us. We're just observing it. And whatnot. I mean, obviously, I don't remember any shop window dummies breaking out and killing people in the past and stuff. But the classic run doesn't really do alien invasion on a grand scale, saying that modern day people are encountering it, does it? So much. Like Unit, I suppose, but the ambiguity of the years of the 70s and 80s means that no one's ever going, well, I don't remember that happening. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember those men with the men in the yellow jackets with the massive heads handing out daffodils. But this series is the first one to sort of be like, you know, everybody sees what's going on. The Nestine thing is worldwide, if I recall. In Rose, we just see London. We see a very Cardiff arcade-looking London. But this is the point where they're like, right, politics. We're going to play around with what you know and what it's meant to be. I love how we're talking about the politics while the big fart aliens are climbing out of the skin suits.
And Jackie has just noticed that it's gotten a bit dark and blue. She's like, oh, I was so busy making tea, I didn't notice.
I didn't notice that the lights had gone off in the kitchen to accommodate this blue light. Now, all right, it's 2015. CGI's not aged particularly well on the textures. You're a little better at this than I, as a man of science and a man of animation.
I suppose if you want to get technical, I think compared to how it looks at the moment, they used Digi-Beta, which is it was sort of going out of style back in 2005, but they still use it for this. I think maybe it's like, what camera should we use? We've got these Digi-Betas hanging around. Use that, and it makes everything look a little bit grainy. And I think it doesn't really matter because everything looks a little bit sort of old and wouldn't really stand up in HD. I think that's why they destroyed the TARDIS, didn't they? Because they didn't think it would work as well in...
Yeah, they didn't think it'd look as good on Kamura. That's why it was used very minimally in the Specials series. You didn't really see the interior of the TARDIS too much.
We're coming up to our first cliffhanger. I think we should just get a bit excited about this.
I must admit, the music doesn't suit the cliffhanger. It's very calm and very just like, ooh, something's happening. You almost want the to be fair, when the sting comes in, like you're like, oh no, jeopardy! But you kind of want it to do up the stakes a bit.
But it's all right. Look, the Doctor's alive.
This is the only cliffhanger trope that I don't like in the new series, personally. And it's the whole, see everybody, there's a next time. It's like, no, we know there's a next time. Don't show it to us. Leave our imaginations running for the next week. This becomes a problem, I think, in Bad Wolf, when they just flat out go, Daleks,
look,
everyone.
here's the Daleks.
See you next week. It's like, no,
be sure to tune in for Daleks.
But then again, this was Series 1. It's about the spectacle. It was getting everybody excited, wasn't it? So you need to sort of tease them. A little bit of a tease. A little bit of a sonic tease.
No, absolutely.
Hey, baby. Guess what we got next week? Bit of that. Bit of this.
Bit of the other.
Bit of that. tune in.
So I was
you
going to say, it might be worth talking about the models really quickly. I think
Yeah,
they still hold up really well. I think that in times the CGI models, I think possibly the lighting doesn't match up perfectly. I think it was made.
They didn't go for the Spielberg methods. Like the reason why Jurassic Park looks so good is because he was very careful with the lighting conditions of the models and where they were in scenes. So like that T-Rex chasing after the Jeep looks seamless still because it's in such dark lighting. There's no, it's not highlighting the age of it. It's not highlighting the tech so much that he utilises it well. Whereas the Celine, of course, are in very well lit rooms in broad daylight and we can see them. And yeah, but then again, just so everyone knows, by the way, if your episode is finished and you're watching it on DVD and it started playing World War III, stop! Because we're talking about aliens in London.
Stop, you crazy person!
Don't do it. What's wrong?
Or at least press pause. Come on.
Pause for a week. Which everyone had to do in the nation because it was a cliffhanger. In the world,
it's a done thing.
So the CGI models aside, the suits, I think, yes, practical aliens after End of the World. How could they resist not making it a thing? Like the most practical effects, whenever they could use it, use it.
I think
get the suits, get the people, get the puppeteers, get the performers in latex and prosthetics. Like it just the Slovene design, I really like, and we'll talk more about this in part 2. Really,
look very
you see a lot more of them.
Kitsch, I think, is the word.
Yeah, big green babies. Personally, I really dig their design. I will admit that it's the alien from Doctor Who I've doodled the most, because they're a bugger to get right. Like, oh, I think I've done it perfectly. Oh, hang on, I've made the head a bit too big for the body. I think I've done it right. Oh, hang on, no, my arms aren't long enough. Oh, bugger! They make really good toys as well. That was Aliens of London.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Doctor Who got political. It's a lot of fun, and again, just. I mean, come on, setting up for the first part 1 of 2-part adventure. You can't go wrong, can you? It doesn't all feel like build-up.
First ever cliffhanger of the new series as well. That was something. It was something. Everyone could die, but of course, there's no worry.
Everyone might die. Next time, everyone's alive.
But they might die again.
But that's the point of the cliffhanger, isn't it? It's trying to figure out how they're going to get out of this. How they're going to get out of this wacky old situation. Although later on they obviously learnt to tease a bit more with the to be continued that made the sound as it hit the screen and then the credits roll. Where were you first watched this story? Whereabouts were you? Were you at home watching it go out? Were you?
I was at home watching this.
Were you reading the Target novelisation 10 years from now? Like.
I would love it if Terrance Dicks came and did Target novelisations of the new series. That would make my day.
I mean, I watched it on broadcast, and I wasn't too happy with it. So I re-released it as Doctor Who and the Green Baby Men, and Doctor Who and the Labour Party of Death, and made this. I've got to do the books, and they're very good.
Do you think possibly the Slovene are a metaphor for the rise of the Green Party in taking the Labour vote away? And perhaps the Green Party could be wearing Labour Party's skins or something. You jest, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit more commentary in this that they're not, alluding to. Just because it makes for good storytelling, doesn't it? And I think you can tell this is the first episode they recorded, though. There's a bit of teething in it as well. Absolutely.
Just a tad. Because Rose is a lot more polished than this episode, the story. Yeah. But again, great supporting cast. I think they're all having a whale of a time is the most important thing. Like David Verney and Rupert Van Sittart and obviously Annette Badland. Like, they're just having fun with this. And what more could you ask for, Richard? What more could you ask for in this day and age? They're not having fun on The Walking Dead, are they? Look at them, they're all miserable. They're all absolutely miserable. Oh, look at them. Penny Dreadful, having a dreadful time. Look at them. They're all so sad.
And, I don't know, Michael Dreadful as well. He's not having fun either. Stephen Dreadful.
Stephen Dreadful and his pal from downstairs, Jimmy Mift. They all live in the same block with two goths, a bunch of random kids with no mums and dads.
I'd love it if the two goths got their own little story, like to go alongside it. That would be brilliant.
We're not quite in the era of TARDISodes yet. If I remember correctly, that was just Series 2 got those. But if this were Series 2, then those kids and the goths would have had a wacky TARDISode in which they all wrote like Bad Wolf and Naughty Dog and
I think
disgruntled canine.
I'm going to
on
write
the
the
TARDISode
for this episode right now. The goths are having a party downstairs and they're listening to Take That, and then an Auton comes in and oh no, it's an Auton! They killed loads of people and it's a bit of a hot topic, and then it turns out it's actually Mick from upstairs.
Yeah, and he found some dummy bits and he's put them on and he's having a laugh. And then at the very end of it, she yells like, "Oh, come in and party!" And the camera pans over to Eccleston walking through the courtyard. There you go. So you connect it.
I was going to say, but then, what's his name? I forgot to give him a name. Mick from upstairs. After he takes the Auton outfit off, he's actually a Slitheen. So he's wearing a double disguise.
Well, maybe that will actually be the resolution to the cliffhanger, Richard.
Possibly.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We do. We watched it go out
ages ago,
and we both own the DVDs. We both own the clunky box sets. Mm-hmm. We're one of a dying breed, you and I. Ladies and gents, I would thank Richard for joining me, but I can do that next week because we're back next week.
You dirt.
With me, I am a dirty man. We're back next week with World War III, Part 2 of the story. Remember to keep on top of us. Subscribe to YouTube, Official CDJ, or SoundCloud for the download, Official CDJ. Follow myself on Twitter, Official CDJ, for all the updates on 9 is 10. And Rich, drop your Twitter on the people.
Richard B. Brooks on Twitter, just all one word. And don't forget the old 5 Fans website, 5wf.co.uk, and Aimless Wanderings, aimlesswanderings.co.uk. Simple as that.
Something to tide you over for the next week.
Absolutely. Just
before we return.
There's about 8 hours of Aimless Wanderings at the moment. Just spend your days listening to that.
Pompous Series 3 is absolutely wonderful. It has an incredible supporting cast. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm in it, you're in it, and Britty Lee's in it, and it's cracking.
All the hits. All the hits. We will be back next week for Doctor Who and the World War III.
I can't wait.
Until then, I'm shaking my booty.
I'm farting.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Alright, bye.